What's up, duders? Time for your daily dose of internet madness. Today's story is a doozy. It has texting mistakes, misunderstandings, panic sweats, relationship drama, and more internal screaming than the average theme park roller coaster. Now settle in, hydrate, and prepare yourself for what I like to call an academic case study in how not to communicate via smartphone. Today I messed up by texting my girlfriend what I meant to send my friend. Okay, so this happened about 2 weeks ago, and I'm finally emotionally stable enough to talk about it without wanting to crawl into a houseplant and photosynthesize in shame. For context, I'm 24, my girlfriend Jenna is 23, and we've been dating for a little over a year. Things are good, like, dangerously good. The kind of good that makes your brain believe nothing bad will ever happen again, which is exactly the moment the universe says, let's test that theory. I was hanging out at home after work, doing two things I probably shouldn't have been doing simultaneously: texting Jenna, trash-talking our mutual friend Marcus in a separate group chat. Now, before anyone calls the moral police, Marcus is a great guy, but also a walking symphony of bad decisions. We love him, we roast him. It's how things work. On this particular day, Marcus had just done something spectacularly stupid. He told the manager at his job that he would rather be hit by a sandwich truck than finish the Thursday inventory, assuming this was a safe joke. Spoiler, the manager did not laugh. So he spent the whole afternoon cleaning ancient ketchup out of a freezer while I sat at home sending memes about him to our group chat. Meanwhile, Jenna and I were also having a serious conversation. Well, serious-ish. She had just told me she wanted to discuss where we're going long-term, which anyone who has ever been in a relationship knows is code for, I hope you're prepared for sincerity and emotional intelligence right now. I was trying to switch between these conversations while half watching TV and also eating cereal, which is how the disaster began. Jenna had messaged something thoughtful and sweet about imagining us living together someday. I read it, felt the appropriate warmth, and then saw that Marcus had just texted something ridiculous like, if I quit today, how long before they remove my nameplate? So, I typed the following message intended for the group chat. Bro, can you stop being such a dramatic toddler for one day? We get it, work sucks. But damn, just grow up and deal. Then I hit send. Then I looked. Then my soul left my body like I was the final boss in an RPG. Because I had not sent it to Marcus. I had sent it to Jenna, the girl who, at that exact moment, was pouring her heart out about our future. I stared at the message like maybe I could reverse it with Jedi telekinesis. My phone screen might as well have been a tombstone. She saw it instantly. The little read receipt popped up like an execution notice. Then the typing dots appeared. Then they disappeared. Then they came back. Then disappeared again. I went through all 5 stages of grief in 9 seconds. Finally, she replied, wow, okay, if that's how you feel. Now here's where a rational adult would calmly explain the misunderstanding, provide context, admit fault, and communicate openly. Which is exactly why I, under extreme panic and cereal-fueled adrenaline, did none of that. Instead, I did what any complete fool would do. I started sending frantic texts trying to explain while sounding like a malfunctioning robot. No, wait, that wasn't for you, not about you, I swear it was for Marcus, please do not break up with me, I am stupid. She didn't answer. I knew she was at her evening yoga class, and imagining her in child's pose contemplating my idiocy made me want to lie face down on the carpet until I was legally considered furniture. Since she wasn't responding, I did the next worst thing. I tried calling. No answer. So now I had hit the relationship panic apex. I couldn't fix it immediately and I had to just sit there with my thoughts. Terrible combination. I ended up messaging Marcus. I accidentally sent Jenna the text meant for you. Please open the ground beneath me. He responded with 3 crying emojis and, bro, you're dead. Tragically accurate. Jenna finally called back an hour later. I answered like a dude waiting for a courtroom verdict. She sounded calm. Too calm. So, she said, do you really think I need to grow up and deal? I immediately launched into my most inspired monologue of verbal gymnastics, explanations, apologies, character testimony about Marcus's dramatic tendencies, my inability to multitask successfully, and at one point I may have listed my positive qualities like I was interviewing for the position of girlfriend's partner instead of already being employed. She let me talk for what felt like 3 presidential terms. Then she sighed and said, I believe you, but I need a minute. Which is the scariest sentence in the English language. That night I lay in bed like someone who'd offended a powerful wizard and was awaiting magical retribution. Thankfully, the next day she texted, I'm not mad, but maybe don't treat deep emotional conversations like background tasks. Fair. We talked, we laughed about it later, and I promised to never ever multitask relationship discussions again. The universe accepted my offering. Peace returned, or so I thought. And here I must interrupt again because I feel like we, the audience, need to breathe. Our hero has demonstrated a critical life skill: how to take a small fire and add gasoline, fireworks, and a marching band. I just want to emphasize something. Texting is dangerous. Texting while doing literally anything else is like letting a raccoon drive your car. Yes, sometimes it works out. Often it does not. And when you are discussing your future with someone you love? My brother in Wi-Fi. Focus. Anyway, back to the plot. Because even though the crisis was resolved, oh, dear listener, the universe was loading level 2. A couple days later, Marcus decided to seize the opportunity for maximum revenge. Now, Marcus is a comedian at heart. Give him material and he'll craft a skit, a roast, or a public spectacle. He showed up at our weekly friend hangout with a printed sign that said, "Texts are a privilege, not a right." He hung it on the wall. He spent the entire night making comments like, "Hey, careful what you text, the walls have eyes." Jenna snorted every time. I took it like a man, which in this case looked exactly like slowly melting into the couch cushions. But then came the twist I truly did not expect. Jenna told the story at work. Not just to one coworker. Oh no. By the end of the week, apparently half her office knew the tale of my shame message. I discovered this when I met her at lunch, and a woman I had never seen before pointed at me and said, "Oh my God, you're the one who told your girlfriend to grow up." I had a brief out-of-body experience right there in the salad line. At this point, the story had spiraled beyond my household and achieved community folklore status. Jenna still thought it was hilarious. Marcus was delighted. I was considering erasing myself from history. But honestly, after the initial horror evaporated, I realized something. Everyone was laughing with me. Not at me, even me. Somehow, this incredibly embarrassing moment had turned into a weird badge of relational honor. Jenna kept telling people, "We worked through it. Communication crisis survived. 10 out of 10. Would panic again." Our relationship actually got stronger afterward because it forced us to have conversations we hadn't had yet, about timing, attention, emotional presence, and phone usage while eating cereal. By the end of the week, the whole thing was gently fading into memory. Until the update. Update, 2 weeks later. Okay, so several people asked how things turned out long term, and I actually have another development. Last night I was helping Jenna clean up after dinner. We were talking casually. Music on, plates going into the dishwasher. Very chill domestic vibes. Suddenly she pauses, looks at me, and says, "There's something I want to talk about." My soul froze in place. That phrase has been permanently linked to psychic dread for me. I slowly put the plate down. "Okay," I said, cautiously. She grinned like a supervillain. "I'm kidding. I just wanted to see your face." I may have thrown a dish towel at her. She deserved it. But then she got serious, in the good, slow, world-building relationship way. She said she had been thinking a lot about that whole texting disaster and what it highlighted. Not the mistake itself, but the fact that we were getting into deeper territory. Talking about shared futures, making plans. She said, "We're not just dating anymore. We're building something. And that means both of us need to show up fully when we're talking about things that matter. Not half listening. Not multitasking. Not texting Marcus about sandwich trucks." I nodded, because she was right. Multitasking is fine when you're flipping pancakes or folding laundry, but not when someone is handing you a piece of their heart. So we sat down and actually talked. About boundaries. Attention. Long-term life stuff. Where we want to live someday. How we'd split finances. Our pets. Future cats. Naturally. It ended up being one of the best talks we've ever had. And then, "This is where the universe rewarded us," she said. "I want us to move in together." I thought about it for maybe half a second before saying yes. So yeah, a stupid texting mistake ended up pushing us toward a milestone we probably wouldn't have discussed seriously for another few months. Who knew sending a message to the wrong chat could accelerate your relationship instead of ending it? I still haven't lived it down. Marcus gave me a congratulatory card that said, "There are no wrong texts, only destinies." I punched him in the arm. He deserved that too. At the end of the day, the girl I love forgave me, and we're planning a future together. Not a bad ending for a story that began with me wanting to crawl into a fern and cease existing. And here I return, wine glass in hand, applauding our protagonist for turning disaster into emotional growth. Was it painful? Yes. Did we all feel the secondhand embarrassment physically? Also yes, but like a phoenix rising from the ashes, or a phone dropped face first onto concrete, our hero survived. If there's a lesson here, it's simple. Put your phone down when someone you love is speaking from the heart. Never send texts in split attention mode unless you're prepared to accept the possibility of chaos. Dating is not about perfection. It's about screwing up, communicating, and growing. Also, Marcus deserves his own sitcom. But that's another story. Thank you for attending this case study in Romantic Miscommunication 101. Sometimes life hands you an embarrassing moment that feels like a social apocalypse. But if you're lucky, and humble enough to admit your mistakes, it becomes something better, a story that strengthens the relationship instead of breaking it. And ideally, it also becomes a hilarious tale the rest of us can learn from without having to suffer ourselves. That's all, folks. Don't forget to upvote the video. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Doot doot.